Of all that goes on in the human brain, the biggest mystery surrounds the time when we sleep. One surprise is that at night, your brain is as busy as during the day. The brain's first job is to put us to sleep. As night falls, a dot-sized gland in the brain triggers release of our natural sleeping pill, melatonin. Acting on our central nervous system, melatonin makes us drowsy. But as the body slows, the brain goes to work. Every night, it performs a tune-up. Brain cells that have worked all day shut down for repair. Chemicals clean up the byproducts of brain cell activity, and in some parts, new brain cells grow. Without this internal diagnostic and repair service, the brain couldn't maintain peak performance. If we stay awake too long, our brain knocks us out, no matter what the consequences. That's what happened to explorer David Hempelman Adams when he attempted a record-breaking solo balloon trip to the North Pole. David planned to sleep briefly at times during the 1,500-mile journey. But he didn't stick to his schedule.
In the first couple of days, I was on top of the game, and the adrenaline was up. I'm not too bad for the first couple of days anyway.
After 48 hours without sleep, the balloonist's thought center was the first to go.
Going into the second into the third day, I was making silly mistakes.
Okay, what's the new track?
You're going too fast. Can you repeat that over?
When I would call up the control room, they would give me a track, and I'd repeat it 3 or 4 times just to make sure. And they go, no, what are you, stupid? It's this. And so you realize your performance is going.
David has now gone 72 hours without letting sleep perform its critical repair. Sensing a crisis, the brain begins damage control. It shuts down areas not key to vital body function, including the thought center, the seat of logic. David soon starts imagining things.
When you get very, very tired, you tend to talk to yourself.
I think the worst thing about tiredness is disorientation. Disorientation.
I had a little rubber duck, and you start talking to the duck. You just do start talking to anything.
Say hi.
Okay.
88 hours in, and still David remains awake. To avoid permanent harm, his brain pulls the plug, and David is out.
Now, in the extreme, when you haven't had enough sleep, your brain will shut you down, whatever the circumstance. Even in a life-threatening circumstance, if your brain needs sleep so much, it'll shut you down.
The balloon starts losing altitude. Even though he's asleep, David is not without defenses. As we sleep, the part of the brain that hears remains alert, which is why alarm clocks and other noises wake us.
When we fall asleep, we're actually still vigilant and alert to the outside world. So your brain is still on, and you know what's going on outside.
When the balloon dips below 9,000 feet, the autopilot screams out a warning. David's emergency response center jolts him. His groggy impulse is to try to flee the scary noise by climbing from the basket. In the wild, this survival instinct could save your life. But thousands of feet up, it almost brings disaster.
after that split second that you realise where you were, seeing the clouds down below, getting back into the basket, and I remember shaking and my knees were just knocking. That was the closest I've ever come to killing myself.
David's brief but deep sleep was enough to get him back on track. He was able to complete his record flight.
You realise now you just need your sleep. And if you don't sleep, you're going to die. And not die because you haven't slept, but die because you made a mistake which will cause an accident. And that's what I learned from that trip.